Hi everyone and welcome to devblog number 5, the Motostrelki Specialization devblog for Broken Arrow. So they've listed this all on Steam, the link is down below if you would rather go and read it, but if you'd like to bear with me, let's have a little read through. So the first thing they mention here is that a demo will be available at the Steam Next Fest. They actually make a slight mistake here and they've put January, what they actually mean is February the 6th at 10 AM Pacific time. There will be a downloadable and playable demo consisting of one playable scenario from the single-player story campaign. They would really love to hear your honest feedback on the game, so do not refrain from hopping in the game, giving it a try and letting them know what you think. They'll be collecting feedback through a special survey that you can access from within the game. They'll also be streaming the scenario live on Twitch on Tuesday, February 7th at 8 PM GMT. Furthermore, you can join them at tea time on the February 9th at 4 PM GMT for an exclusive live interview with Felix, the creative director of the game. Now, I'm sure most of you will have seen the trailer by now, but I will leave it at the end of this video again, but it is already on the channel, and you can also watch it on Slytherin's channel and on STB's channel, the devs as well, but I'll leave that to you where you want to watch it. So, the Motostrelki Battle Group Specialization. Motostrelki, or Motorized Mechanized Infantry, is a specialization focused on ground mobility and aims to achieve superiority through numbers rather than quality. Offensively, this specialization allows you to deploy a large quantity of cheap infantry squads equipped with older weapons and spread them rapidly over the battlefield with light-wheeled armored transports, BTRs. Each squad and its transport might be outclassed if they encounter a stronger enemy unit, but some BTRs might find undefended routes of approach. This allows their infantry to pour through enemy lines and end up destroying weak and expensive support units like artillery and anti-aircraft platforms to compensate for earlier losses where they've bashed up against someone's defensive wall. Now defensively, the BMPs, which are tracked armoured vehicles equipped with anti-tank guided missiles and autocannons, will pose a threat to the enemy. However, they remain light vehicles that are no match for a tank, so it is generally a better solution to spread them out in order to shoot missiles from multiple directions and hit tanks' weaker side armour. Having more units to manage than the opponent can be an advantage, but it can also become a burden in some situations, as it is harder to keep track of all of them, so it's hard to prevent those losses. That is my problem in pretty much every strategy game. I'm terrible at being everywhere at once. So what about the different sets of units in the game? Well, first up we have Reconnaissance. First there is the Razvedka. This is a 5-man squad that has better observation equipment than regular infantry squads and trades the usual machine gun for a stealthier SVD marksman rifle. They are equipped with several RPG-26 lightweight anti-tank rocket launchers that can damage light armoured vehicles. They have access to standard BTRs and MTLBs as a transport, but also BMPs, which can bring a lot of punch to this reconnaissance unit. Next up are the Snipery, I believe that would be pronounced. This is an entire squad of soldiers equipped with precision rifles of different calibers. Rather than being spread in different squads, these marksmen work together as a team to totally deny an area to enemy infantry. The firepower comes at the expense of stealth that is not on the level of other snipers. And then finally listed here under Reconnaissance are the Spetsnaz GRU, or GRU, an elite squad of 7 men equipped with suppressed weapons, advanced observation equipment and top-tier rocket launchers. They can also provide laser designation for planes and artillery. They go on to note that in addition to the infantry units, this specialization gives you access to the BRDM-2 and BRDM-3 wheeled recon vehicles, as well as the 4-post UAV, a reconnaissance drone that can be equipped with 2 Cornet anti-tank missiles. Oh yes, drone warfare is here. Next up we have the mainstay of this specialization, the infantry. So first up are the Motostrelki, and these are the backbone of the specialization. This squad is of 7 men equipped with AK-74M rifles, 2 GP-34 underbarrel grenade launchers, and PKP machine gun, as well as a RPG-7 anti-tank rocket launcher. Then there are the Reservisti, an understrength squad of 6 men equipped with old AK-74s, PKM and an RPG-7 transported in a BTR-80 or MTLB. They have a limited amount of ammunition, so they won't put up a fight for very long. It is best to have them patrol your rear to detect infiltrated enemy units, that might run into them, or indeed just to guard your flanks and act as a speed bump in case of an unexpected enemy attack. Basically, they're cannon fodder. Then there are the AGS squads, automatic grenade launchers, and their serving crew that can provide fire support against infantry and light vehicles. They are extremely vulnerable to helicopters, however. Next up, they list the PZRK Igla, soldiers equipped with an Igla man-portable anti-air missile. These small missiles lack range, so they are better at shooting down helicopters than jets. Next up, we have the PTRK Conkers, a squad dedicated to anti-tank duty equipped with the Conkers ATGM. These units don't have access to the BMPs as a transport, as in Russian doctrine, anti-tank capability comes from the vehicles themselves in a BMP equipped unit, so they don't have a dedicated ATGM team. SPG-9s, a squad equipped with the SPG-9 recoilless rifle to provide fire support against infantry and vehicles. They lack the firepower to really damage tanks' frontal armour though. Then finally in this list we have a unit I'm going to pronounce badly, the Engineer Shermoviki, a squad of heavily armoured soldiers specialised in explosives that will clear buildings from enemy presence in no time at all. Next up, we're taking a look at the fighting vehicles, starting with the transports. All of these troops have access to the BTR-80 wheeled armoured personnel carriers that can be upgraded to a BTR-82A model with a 30mm autocannon or a BTR-82AT with a remotely controlled turret, improved optics and 2 Conkers ATGMs. It is also possible to add cage armour to increase protection against rocket-propelled grenades, but this removes the amphibious capability of the vehicle. The MTLB is a track transport, also available to all troops. It is lightly armoured but can receive caged armour just like the BTR at the cost of the amphibious capability. It is only armed with a single machine gun by default, but can be upgraded to a turret similar to the BTR 80/82A with a KPVT or a 30mm autocannon. The BMP-2 infantry fighting vehicle is available to all troops except the anti-tank teams. This is armed with a 30mm autocannon and Conkers ATGM by default, but it can receive additional grenade launcher or be upgraded to a BMP-2M standard with better optics and 4 modern corner ATGM missiles that can be guided 2 at a time to the same target. It is also possible to upgrade the armour while retaining the amphibious ability. Next we have the BMP-3. It is the next generation of IFV that comes with a 100mm low pressure gun in addition to the 30mm autocannon for additional or long range fire support. The turret can be upgraded with better optics or a Shotra jammer or be totally replaced by the Epocha turret with a 57mm autocannon, cornet and bullet ATGMs. The armour can be upgraded with explosive reactive armour that substantially improves the resilience against explosive damage. Next up we also have a few fighting vehicles. The 9P148 Conkers, an anti-tank vehicle with 5 Conkers ATGM mounted on the roof of a BRDM-2 chassis that can be upgraded with a new turret equipped with 4 Cornet ATGMs. Next up we have the 9P162 Cornet, an anti-tank vehicle based on the BMP-3 chassis, equipped with 2 Cornet ATGMs and can be upgraded to the 9P167 Kazantima, I think that's pronounced, with better optics and missiles that can be guided to 2 different targets independently. Then of course you have the trusty old T-62M, one of the oldest Soviet tanks still in service, available in multiple variants with additional armor, optics and with or without an ATGM. Then there is the T-72B, the workhorse of the Soviet Army, is still available to the motorized infantry specialization, with the possibility to upgrade the armor with different generations of ERA, the fire control system to guide more modern gun-launched missiles, or rather remove this ability to field a tank for a cheaper price. The choice is yours. Next up is the support units for this specialization. The Russian army in the game is globally support heavy compared to the US, and the motorized specialization is a good illustration of this. The 2S23 Nona SVK, a BTR platform equipped with a 120mm Mortar, its wheeled chassis allows it to rapidly reach its destination and relocate after shooting, but the loadout is a rather low yield with only 30 rounds carried. The MTLB-based mortars, the basic configuration called a DEVA, is the standard 82mm mortar transported in the MTLB, but it is possible to upgrade this with a Vasilisk mortar shooting rapid bursts of 4 rounds or a 120mm mortar. Then there is the 2S4 Tulpen, a massive 240mm mortar that shoots 130kg projectiles. As you might imagine, the rate of fire is low as a crank system is needed to reload it, but the effect is devastating when the shells land. Next up is the 2A3 Acacia, a classic 152mm howitzer. The low accuracy is compensated by the high availability and low price that allows you to buy multiple batteries and saturate an area. It can be upgraded to the M2 standard with better reload time and accuracy. Then there is the 9K58 Smirch, a powerful LMRS shooting 300mm rockets with multiple possible warhead types. The rockets must be reloaded one by one with a crane after shooting, which makes the process extremely long. Then there is the TOS-2 Tososhka, one of the newest equipment available to the motorized infantry specialization. This is a wheeled MLRS that can shoot up to 18 220mm thermobaric rockets per salvo with deadly effect against infantry and light vehicles. Then there is the Ural ZSU 23-2. This is the most basic air defense system you can get, a truck with a twin 23mm autocannon bolted to the rear of the platform. It can, however, be upgraded with improved optics and an ingame missile to improve its performance. Then there is the ZSU 23-4 Shilka, a self-propelled anti-aircraft artillery armed with 4 23mm autocannons, resulting in a massive rate of fire. The basic variant doesn't have any radar and is mostly used as fire support, but it can be upgraded with a radar to increase its range against helicopters, and ingame missiles can also be added therein for aircraft as well. Then there is the OSA AKM, an old surface-to-air missile system that is the most basic anti-aircraft unit of this specialization, able to engage aircraft at high altitude. Its old radar makes it bad at tracking low-flying helicopters, however. Then there is the S-350E Vichaz. This truck-mounted surface-to-air missile launcher is no laughing matter for planes. Its 12 ready-to-fire missiles have a massive range and deadly accuracy. The only downside is its inability to track low-flying helicopters, so you need to escort it with a unit dedicated to that. Next up, we're taking a look at the helicopters available to this specialization. Only the oldest helicopters are available to them though. The Mi-8 MTV-2, this classic workhorse of the Russian army, in its oldest version is still in service. This helicopter can carry a mix of troops and supplies as well as gun pods and rockets on its 4 pylons. Then of course there is the Mi-24P, the famous attack helicopter armed with a fast-firing twin 30mm autocannon attached to the fuselage. 6 pylons are available to equip the classic gun pod and rocket baskets, but also cock-on missiles, which are for anti-tank capability, and the R-60 anti-air missiles. The Mi-24 is able to carry a full squad of infantry even if it is not its primary role. The Mi-24V or VP, similar to the Mi-24P, but with a chain gun turret instead of a fixed gun. The turret is armed with either a Yak-B 12.7mm minigun, as in the Mi-24V, or with twin 23mm autocannons, the Mi-24VP. And then finally there is the Mi-24K. This is a recon and fire support variant of the helicopter. It loses its ability to carry troops because observation equipment takes up the space in that compartment. It also loses the ability to use guided cock-on missiles because the aiming system has been replaced by a laser designation system. Last but not least, we have the planes, the jets, the aircraft. The Su-25SM, this rather slow ground attack plane that can carry unguided bombs of different weight and types, such as general bombs, dumb bombs, cluster munitions, incendiary, thermobaric. Rockets of different calibers up to the massive 340mm S-25 can also be carried, as well as the KH-25 anti-tank missile and the massive KH-29 missiles, or indeed the KH-58 anti-radiation missiles. Out of 10 pylons, 2 can be equipped with electronic countermeasure pods to increase the survivability of the plane, or it can be equipped with short-range infrared anti-air missiles to hunt down helicopters or as self-defense against other planes. Then there is the Su-24M2. This is a supersonic bomber with variable sweep wings that delivers a lot of unguided bombs of every type and weight. Will you prefer quantity with up to 26 OFAB 100 kg bombs, or size up with 3 FAB 1500 kg bombs? Then there is the Su-24MP. This version is equipped with additional electronic sensors and is dedicated to suppression of enemy air defense, aka it's a seed plane. It hunts radar-equipped enemy units and destroys them with its KH-31 anti-radiation missiles. Then there is the MiG-29 SMT. This is a light fighter designed to engage enemy aircraft with short-range infrared R-60 missiles or the R-73 missiles, and the medium-range R-77 and R-27ER missiles. It should be noted that the number of missiles it can carry is low and its autonomy is short-lived, even with additional fuel tanks, so it's best used for interception rather than air patrol. It can also carry rocket pods and small bombs, but air-to-ground is clearly not the domain where this plane shines. And that is actually where the devblog ends on Steam. It's quite an abrupt ending. There isn't really a final point to say what's coming next. Obviously, there is a demo coming up on the 6th of February, so do check that out. I will now leave the trailer running again at the end of this video, but thank you everyone for watching. Please do like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you all soon, very soon it looks like, for a lot more Broken Arrow.